Crack-a-cocoon! Welcome to Absolute Comics, right here with me, Betty, also known as the Comic Historian on YouTube, Twitch, the internet, like in general, and Sal from Comic Pop. This show is the show that we come together to do shows about shows here every Tuesday at about 5 p.m. Eastern. We talk about the wonderful world of pop culture, comic books, and everything else that you love in between, such as World of Warcraft, Supernatural, or the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You're like, I'm just being weird with this. I'll be weird with it.
I'm like, we do?
This show is brought to you by our Twitch support, twitch.tv/comicstorian, where if you like this show and our other podcasts and our D&D game, we would really appreciate the additional support by subscribing. It's also brought to you by our Patreons, patreon.com/comicstorian and patreon.com/comicpop, where we send it up as soon as we have the version completed and we send it over to you guys over there. And lastly, it is brought to you by our sponsor, J Fuel. J Fuel, what is that, Sal?
G Fuel.
J Fuel. They got the shiny, it's shiny something. It's blue lemonade, but it's like a shiny, it's awesome. Gotta check it out. New flavor they came out with. So if you want to support the show, you want to see the show stick around, please consider using any one of those avenues to continue to support it. So we got a couple little things to talk about, Sal. You want to do the little things first? I was going to do Supernatural, the Fortnite event. Yeah. Then we're going to talk about Ten of Swords and Wonder Woman 1984.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to move back from those after we start talking about them. So let's jump into the little guys.
So I'm going to tell you, because you'll never watch it, the Supernatural finale was the greatest thing on TV, period.
Wow. Okay.
Now, I'm not even hyping it up. Greatest thing on TV. And I have a reason for that, okay?
Mm-hmm.
How many shows have you watched that ended early?
Most of them.
How quick and stupid were those finales? Like Buffy, Angel, Firefly. Well, that didn't even end.
That didn't, yeah. Well, it had a movie ending that was more disappointing than anything else. But yeah, they were either season finales that were shaped into series finales, or they just stop.
Now imagine if you knew 2 years out that you were ending on this date. How good that could be.
Right.
That it completes the whole Supernatural story. And if you don't want the spoilers to what actually happened yet, mute us for 5 minutes. I'll make it quick. The whole concept of the show was that in the direction they took in the ending was the concept that they could never stop doing what they were doing. There was never going to be a way to save, like Dean and Sam were always going to have to fight the monsters. It was whatever. You know, there was going to be no eventual way to stop this. The idea of the final seasons was that God was writing their story, and that's why they were in this perpetual loop, because it was his favorite show in the multiverse.
Right.
As we got closer to the ending, first off, we discovered why God was a dickhead. It's because he never was a good, benevolent God. Michael came to Earth and wanted everyone to praise him, so he wrote all those stories of this benevolent God.
Okay.
So that was the first thing that would like, okay, so you gave an answer as to why you decided to turn God into a villain. I like that. But they eventually beat that. They solved the problem. They got rid of God and all the issues. I won't go much into that because that's the big thing.
Right.
But then we were left with, like, they ended it. That was it. But there was another episode left. The last episode picked up how every episode starts up. They got a call. They went to go stop some vampires, but it went a little different this time. Dean ended up dying right at the beginning, because the constant loop the brothers have always been in is that Sam would love to move on with his life, but Dean is always holding him back because Dean carries on the family tradition. Sam is there for Dean. But if Sam didn't have Dean, he would have a wife, a kid, and move on with his life. So they killed Dean.
Okay.
He passed on officially, and Dean went to heaven, where he got in the Impala and he drove off into the sunset on an eternal drive. They fixed heaven. Heaven was actually a place you wanted to go. Sam moved on. Sam lived a full life. He went and got married. He had a kid. He went and helped his kid through school, like in normal life. He got what he wanted. Both brothers got what they wanted, and when Sam finally passed on, he met Dean at the end of the entire ride, because in heaven time moves differently. And they got back in and they went to go see their parents, and it was awesome, and it was epic, and it was and the kid became a hunter too, and the family tradition carried on, and they the show ended like in a proper way. Sal,
that's nice. That's nice. That's rare. Yeah. Especially with it being that long, like usually it just peters out and stops, or they try to do something like give it a soft reboot and turn it into something else, or
Yeah.
you know, it's. I'm glad that it ended well. And that it gave you like a satisfying conclusion for these characters.
And I jokingly call it the best thing on TV but like the fact of the matter is, it's not the best produced. It doesn't have the best acting. It doesn't have the biggest budget, and it is on CW. But it's a 15-year show that, with its ups and downs, got to finish.
Right.
Game of Thrones went to shit in the last 2 seasons. Talked about everywhere. What's that card show? House of Cards completely changed it because like the show, like there's tons of better shows, but I cannot think of another show that ended in such a finite way that you were like,
yeah,
I'm happy.
Yeah, they gave you satisfaction.
Like I feel like I completed something. It was just incredible.
Well, especially a serialized show, like not like a Netflix show, not like a series that has like 8 episodes. Like we're talking about standard like main non-cable syndicated programming. Like,
I mean, there's an argument to be made for shows that are only 8 episodes long or only go for 2 seasons. Stranger Things is great, but that's not produced to be a normal show. No. It's produced to be a long form movie.
Exactly.
Like
Mandalorian is a movie. It's not a
Mandalorian's a movie. Yeah. Mandalorian's a great show, but it's just a long movie. That's literally it.
Yeah.
And I love that. I'm not arguing against fuck Mandalorian. It's this Supernatural is the greatest thing in TV because it's been around since before serialized shows. It's been around since before Game of Thrones. Yeah. It's been around since before shows had 9 seasons tying into something.
Nice.
And it's not been ruined. It's not been salted. It's not been tainted. And it got to complete its whole journey. Nothing felt rushed other than stuff that they commented on because of COVID.
Right.
And that was it.
That's cool.
So
good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to hear it.
So yeah, and it didn't need to get canceled, and it brought back with a 3-episode series called Gilmore Girls.
Well, Gilmore Girls, that season's thing, A Year in the Life, that's what it was called. Super bad.
Like their attempt at bringing it back.
Man, yeah. I
did jump on and see that. I saw the beginning of that, and I was like, this doesn't make any sense.
No, we gotta watch the whole show. You can't jump into.
That's why I didn't go deep into it.
Yeah,
but
no.
It did make sense to me because I'm like, these are grown women now going back to acting like kids.
Well,
but the whole point was that they progressed past that, I thought.
No,
like that was the whole point.
No. Rory has significant regression. Lorelai,
that's what I mean.
It's always been more Lorelai's story has always been more sympathetic because Rory's a failure, but Rory's amazing because she's like the avatar for millennials. She's like, this is who, like, she is just that. She's the representation of what it is like to be a millennial. That revival sucks. I'll be the first one to say it. I was so excited to have it back, and it did things I wanted, but like horribly and meanderingly, and you knew that Rory sucks and that you really like put her at a disadvantage, and then you just made her worse in this revival. Like, you had every opportunity to do something interesting with that character and make her maybe redeemed, and instead she's just further worse than she was before. Ugh. It's been a long time since I saw that. I think when it premiered, I watched it, I'm like, yes. Oh, this is horrible. And I wanted another one just to be like, can you fix this? Can you fix this fix you did?
Right.
And that's like, every time anyone says like, you got to bring back this show, or you got to bring back this movie, it's like, dude, think about like any movie sequel that like came back like 15 years later. Which ones? What's the statistical likelihood it will satisfy you or make you happy? Like,
they never do. They never do.
Blade Runner 2 maybe was as good, almost as good as Blade Runner, but like that's Tron Legacy. That's another one that I think is superior.
I did like Tron Legacy. I did like that one a lot.
Tron Legacy, I like Tron Legacy before, like more than Tron. But like, those are my examples. Like Star Wars, Star Trek, everything. So anyway, I'm glad Supernatural ended like the way they wanted.
Yeah. I'm going to talk about real quick. It's funny because I actually told Dana earlier, he goes, what are you going to do for your rants this week? And I said, most of my rants come out of the talks that Sal and I have, and then I condense it down into a 10-minute thing, and then I turn it on the video.
Right, exactly. So
what I'm about to talk about is going to be coming into the video on channel real soon, but the Fortnite event that broke Twitch, which just happened right now, that was incredibly epic, and what I'm going to elaborate more on in my video is, and I wanted to get your take on this, we need more of that. And I'm not just talking a fan service thing where you fight Galactus.
Right.
The reason why that was epic, not because they did a great job, not because the skins were in there, not because they handled the Marvel property with respect, but because the amount of people that is going to bring to the comic book world, which is going to tie a little bit later because I'm going to talk about this tied into our topic about cannibalizing. But the Fortnite event was done so well. Even having a comic book in it, we need more things like that. Because right now, if you look at everything, it's funny because I got sent this thing from, I think it was Undead King Taz. He said it was, there it is. He sent me a meme, and the meme was reality. Now, bear in mind, before you all attack me, I'm reading a meme.
Right.
Okay. Comic books, DC better than Marvel. Cinematic universe, Marvel better than DC. Movies not included in cinematic universes, DC better than Marvel. TV series, equal. Animated movies, DC. Animated TV shows, DC. Academy Awards, 5-1, DC. Video games, DC. What Marvel fans see, Marvel. But what this meme that he sent me, combined with what just happened at Fortnite, it just kind of reminds me we need more crossover, because a lot of people just see the cinematic universe and that's it.
Yes,
this is what Marvel is. I'm never going to read a comic, so we need more avenues to convince people that comic books are fun and awesome and great stories, and this is where a lot of your stuff comes from. And you can spend a good morning just chilling out with your coffee, reading a comic book. It's great. True. And I just feel like we need more stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Marvel does not have. It's funny because Marvel has been one company for a long time. The cinematic equivalent notwithstanding, it's had the opportunity to be pretty brand synergistic. And clearly Warner Brothers, DC, AT&T are focused on brand synergy in a big way this year in the coming future. So you're going to see a lot more of that. You're going to see like a lot more kind of like cohesion between all of them, maybe at the expense of comics, but we'll see. But with Marvel, like for the most part, the thing that is the most successful for them is the movies, right? I mean, I think we can all agree in terms of money and numbers, the movies are the most successful thing versus comics versus video games. You know, the video games do a nice job if they're done well, you know, but like this is the first very successful Spider-Man game in a long time. And, you know, there are others, you know, like the Marvel vs. Capcom 4, which was like kind of critically a dud, and there's more opportunity. But like the cultural and the like sales results of like Marvel's foray, Spider-Man, versus DC's all the Batman movies, or games, I should say. Which are hugely popular. But like, it seems that Marvel is like, the movies work. We let the movie people focus on the movies, and we'll just rest our laurels on it because it's so successful. You know, like they don't really think about it in terms of like, wow, these movies are doing really well. How can we parlay that into getting people to, you know, like buy comics, play video games, like do all these other things? And it's I feel like this is almost a discussion entirely for another day, but how could they get people to go from Fortnite, the video game, to the comic? Right. They did a great job of getting you to read Thor, because if you don't know, between, I think it was issues 3 and 4 is when Fortnite happens. And we all just got on the battle bus. We all beat Galactus. I was showing Sal the video of me doing it with my team before this. I was like, this is what we did this. And this is what it turned into Star Wars. And this is what... And how do we parlay that better? Because it happens in the comics. They're like, between the worlds, Galactus stopped at a planet with an island, and we had to fight Zero Point, and it was cool. Right. But by the way, like, and it ruined comics forever, right? Everybody, like, I remember that was a big thing where they were like, "What? They're making the thing that's happening in Fortnite canon in the comics. Well, that's going to ruin everything." And it's like, I don't know about you, but I didn't even notice. Like, I didn't read any of the books that happened in.
The Thor book didn't say anything about it. It literally is just in the off panel it happens. As a matter of fact, the best thing I think they could have done is, I don't know why Marvel didn't pay the buco bucks to get this, but as Galactus was defeated in the Fortnite and we faded to black, why wasn't there like an ad? Continue the story in Thor 1-6 by Donny Cates.
Yeah. The movies
that would have been the best. I mean, it exists because if you had been following the season, there is a comic that says, go check out Thor.
Yep.
But why wasn't the season ended that way? We had 1.9 million people, 1.9 million eyeballs watching that, not including the people in the game, Sal.
Right.
That would have been the best ad spot ever.
I can't believe that. And you know what's funny? Like, it happens a lot. Like, it happens across everything. Like, I have heard from certain other comic publishers who have had multimedia events where they were like, hey, can we put an ad for the comic in this thing, in this other thing? And it's always met with like, it's never no. It's always like, eh. And then they just don't do it. And it's like,
yeah.
If anyone has the clout of like a Marvel or a DC, it's like, use that to get people to look at these things. Now, that being said, you know, like Marvel and DC have always, well, Marvel more specifically, has always been like, oh, there's a movie, change the books to be like the movie, so that when all those people come pouring out of the theaters to pick up these comic books, they won't be confused. And it's like, first of all, they'll be baffled because you used like continuity gymnastics to make the thing look like the thing in the movie. Like, they're going to be confused anyway, but they're not coming. And so if they're not coming from the movies, you know, just because of brand awareness, you know, they need look at us and how you have to smash that like button and subscribe, like remind people to do the thing that like is obvious and comes naturally, because if you don't, they won't do it. So it's like, it's very passive to go, Iron Man's the #1 selling movie in the world. They'll probably buy an Iron Man comic. Like, no, they won't. You need to tell them to buy that.
Noah's Wild says, did you see the flack that EA got when they put real ads in there? But I don't think you understand, Noah.
No.
I know you don't play it, Sal. So Fortnite is a free-to-play game. You can download it right now and play. You could have jumped to that event right now if you, well, not now, but when it was happening. Mm-hmm. But Fortnite launches every game session with 3 ads.
Right.
New costume, latest event that's upcoming, and then some other pack that is coming out. Right. And if you buy a pack, one of those ads will rotate to the latest championship, which, by the way, if you don't win the costume in the championship, you can buy that next week.
There you go.
And if you're on the game when it rotates, which is 5 o'clock my time, the store rotates, I will get 3 new ads.
Yeah.
So while I get what you're saying, that ads
except
in
it's
Fortnite
totally wrong. Like your friend here is saying, like, I think you're referring to things like in Alan Wake when there were like Verizon ads on the TV in the game or something. Like, you're not talking about like
be bad.
You're not talking about like
something.
Yeah, we're talking about like at the end of the damn event at Fortnite, it says Galactus can be found in these thousands of stories that you can read anywhere.
Galactus 2, check out Thor 1 through 6. You know, because he goes into a portal. They keep it in continuity. We just knock it out of the universe.
Like, not invasive, not outrageous, and certainly not a one-to-one example of what you're referring to at all.
You're referencing 2 games that the reason why those games get flack is they're not free.
Yeah, those are. You're talking about loot boxes and microtransactions, man.
Street Fighter V did an ad deal where they had a clothing line, and the load screens for the game were the clothing line. They got shit for that. Not too much shit, but they did get shit for that. But you also got to pay to play Street Fighter V.
Yeah.
Like, every game that has gotten shit for ads is because they put ads into a game you paid for.
Right.
The free-to-play games have been doing that forever.
Yeah, and also, like, if you're complaining about ads in free-to-play games anyway, what are you complaining about?
Yeah, it's 100% free to play. You don't have to pay for anything. They give you all the free skins.
Yeah.
So that's what, and it's always been a blurred line. It's always been an issue. And maybe if Fortnite was a $60 game, I'd be like, maybe you shouldn't.
But even then, like, there's nothing like. I remember in older games there were more direct references. Like, I remember there's the Activision Spider-Man game where an element of the game is you collect covers of Spider-Man comics. Like, it's like a mini challenge. Why isn't that a mini challenge in the current Spider-Man game? Even if it's not...
It is in the Avengers game that no one's playing anymore.
That's right, it is. It is. I saw that. Yeah. Great idea, by the way. And it's like, it's technically an ad because it is like a comic book that you could specifically buy.
I think this is the topic we should stretch into a whole episode, maybe next Tuesday. But I do want to end on one thing. Cammy House brought up a thing where they get an ad for Fortnite every time they boot it up. That reminded me of something. Fortnite has done this ad before. When I booted up Fortnite, when Rogue Squadron dropped, or Squadrons, or whatever that game was, you got an ad. If you bought the Star Wars game on Epic's launcher, you got an X-Wing in Fortnite. So it's not even out of the realm of possibility for Fortnite to promote something related to the current event. Like, they've done it because I got the ad, and I also now have an X-Wing in Fortnite. So
that's dope. Right, like
one of my coolest scenes ever is being Iron Man gliding in with an X-Wing.
I mean, how hard could it have been to say, like, King in Black is on sale on Wednesday?
I would say is more ad focused.
It is more ad focused, but
I would say just basically stating the adventures of Galactus and the Marvel teams continue in Thor 1 through 6.
That's all.
Here's
you need.
the book. That's all. That one I think would have been perfectly fine because we had a black screen for like 2 minutes.
Right.
You could have easily just slapped something in there.
I mean, look at the end of, unfortunately, it's Green Lantern, but the movie Green Lantern, it's the only movie where at the end it said, like, all these stories are in comic books, which you can buy. And like, by the way, and it sucked. It was a terrible ad. It had no voiceover. It had no emotion. It was just a photo from another ad that they superimposed over a black screen. It was smaller than all the other ads. Like, it was like an afterthought. But by the way, only time I've ever seen it. And it's like, what a wasted opportunity that everyone else has. That, like, it's too bad. And by the way, like, don't throw at me the, like, oh, well, it didn't work, obviously, like, yeah, A, Green Lantern sucks. B, like, no one, if anyone had finished watching Green Lantern, they certainly weren't staying for the credits. But like, it's at least, you have to applaud at least the effort, like the effort that was put in to be like, remind people these exist. We are in an unprecedented time where there is like an unprecedented amount of brand awareness and yet record low sales. The hell. And it's like, there are solutions to this, and it's not just, well, the obvious answer to this is comic books are dying and people don't want them. Like, no, it's not that. Because if they did, they wouldn't put like comic strips in newspapers, you know, like they'd just be like, well, no one's looking at them, so pull them all. We don't have to pay these idiots anymore. Like, they would. If anyone could save money, they would. Like, anyway, it's just, yeah.
There are lots of next topic because, like I said, this could be a whole discussion itself, and I'm watching the timer. Moving on, I want to take 2 seconds to talk about this episode of Mandalorian. And if you guys like Sal and I talking about these episodes of shows, that could either become a segment for every week, especially while we have a drought in big content, or it could even become a separate show where Benny and Sal talk about the latest shows they're watching or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But I just want to know your guys' opinion on it. But first, I want to say this episode of Mandalorian sucked.
What? No, Mandalorian was great. Every episode has been great.
No. It was amazing. I wanted to see what your reaction was going to be.
Yeah.
I just loved, you're like stunned. You're like, what?
I will say it was the most, of all the Dave Filoni episodes, this was the Dave Filoniest.
Who's Dave Filoni? I don't remember.
Dave Filoni is the dude who invented Ahsoka Tano and is a big Lucas apologist who's like, oh no, George meant to have all the prequels be like subtle and interesting, but like he just didn't have the time to put it in. But I did with Clone Wars and Rebels and stuff. Like he is the reason that people have nowadays justified their affinity for the prequels. And he's like, he's in charge of Captain Rex and like all that.
So I will say
all that stuff.
I did love this episode. I did. I don't like how they handled Ahsoka.
Yeah, it was a little weird.
It was. You could have replaced her with any Jedi,
right? But she's the only one who's alive. Like they're all dead, right? Like, yeah.
What I was saying is, you could have been anyone though. Like we got one quick reference of Thrawn.
Fine by me.
Yeah. But that was it though.
Yeah.
Like she didn't explain anything. She didn't explain lightsabers. She didn't explain what the Jedi are. Well, maybe that's for the best because it's about Mandalorian.
Yeah.
But we finally get Grogu's name. We finally get his origin. And she's just like, yeah, I'm going to say all these things to you like you know what they are. And we're going to explain nothing. Well, goodbye.
That's because he's like, well, you watched all my shows. You know who all these characters are. I mean, like, would it have been cool if like it was Luke and they like used some CG to make him a little less old? Yeah.
No. Flash was like they already know who the Jedis are. No, that was like a part of the initial thing. He can do things I've never seen before.
Yeah.
Jedis are still a myth. They're mostly extinct at this point. Yep. And the Mandalorian, I think his name is Din.
Jin, yeah.
Yeah.
Din
But anyway,
Djarin,
he's from, he's from a cult sect who doesn't know about these things. Hence why this all started with, what is this thing?
Yeah, they don't know. Like, Jin doesn't know what the Jedi are, or at the very least, he's heard of them. Like, he thinks of them as wizards, the way that people referred to them post pre-OT. Neat, like I'm fine with it, and like I liked seeing Ahsoka Tano's like lightsaber fight. I loved that it was like a big samurai fight in the in the middle of like a beautiful temple. Like, got a lot of cool stuff that I come to expect from The Mandalorian at this point, which is like genre bending, homages to samurai and westerns, and like and fan service that somehow still works despite people's problem with fan service. And this one felt the most fan servicey, and it could be because it was Ahsoka. It could be because like they like stunt casted as Rosario Dawson instead of just making the voice actor player. I don't know what it was, but I was like, like I don't care about Ahsoka, her journey, who she is, like, because I didn't watch all those shows, and I know she was fun in this episode, but like like you said, it could have been anybody, and it might have been stronger if it was just anybody, because then it would have been
general. Yeah, because I think we're looking for more now. And I'm also slightly worried that this is going to eventually lead into this becoming Rebels 2.0. I mean, Rebels is great. I want to see what happens to the characters, but I don't want the Mandalorian and Grogu storyline to become Rebels 2.0.
Oh, it already is. Like, there's no way that he's not gonna like meet up with whatever her name, the Twi'lek from Rebels, and like the Ralph McQuarrie Wookiee character. I don't know any of their names. I watched a little bit of Rebels. I don't know any of them.
Ezra, Sabine, they're all, even Rex, they're all going to show up most likely at some point.
No doubt.
I did watch Rebels.
By the way, fun show. I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I never watched another episode. Like, I watched like 2 episodes. I was like, oh, these are cool.
The problem I had with Rebels is a lot of them were kid-centric. And then like the middle of the season, they'd be like, now we're going to take a real dark turn and talk about Darth Maul and Ahsoka and all these crazy people.
Yep.
And then we're going to go back in an adventure where Chopper is getting lost.
Right.
Like,
yeah. Yeah. No, that's exactly what that show was. Fun show though. Like, I appreciate it. I'm like, oh, this is cool. Nice. Like, I want to see stormtroopers. I want to see like the familiar. I'm down. I loved their use of Vader in that show as well. He sounds less weird than he does in Rogue One for some reason, despite the fact that it's actually still James Earl Jones. I was like, why do you sound so weird? Why didn't you just use sound technology to make him not sound so old? What the hell is wrong with you people? Like, I don't understand. Like, no, that's what he sounds like. Yeah, I know, but he's 30 years younger. Like, just modulate the voice a little bit. Anyway, but no, I love it. I have unabashed love for Mandalorian, and I'm enjoying the shit out of the show. I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm actually not even expecting Thrawn to show up. I'm expecting it to just be like, I don't either. I'm expecting them to just be like, no.
The theory is that this is setting up for a spin-off with Ahsoka and Thrawn and all them.
Yeah.
Which I wouldn't be against, because I think I don't want the Mandalorian and Grogu story to be ruined by it becoming Rebels 2.0. And I say ruined not in a sense of like, oh, it's going to be terrible. It'll be great. It will be. But I like this daddy kid like adventure they're on. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to see it just become, all right, now we're all looking for Thrawn. Like, no. Why? Like, no. Mando's got to do his own thing.
Yeah, and I want them to, and I like the fact they're episodic. I like that every episode of Mandalorian is, I need to do this thing. If you do this thing for me, okay. They do. Here's the thing you wanted. Okay.
It's 100% an RPG game.
Yep.
100%. It's a video game. He lands in a location. I need to use the bathroom. Okay, well, the key is on the top of the mountain, and I need you to kill the dragon.
Fine by me. I mean, like, listen, I'm in. Like, I like that. I'm enjoying the crap out of it. I like the fact that Tusken Raiders speak in sign language. Like, I like all this stuff. So I have no problem with it. And I kind of like that we're not getting like too much involved with the government, because one day maybe they'll do like a real Star Wars sequel that doesn't disappoint everybody. I mean,
real quick before we move on to our next topic, can we talk about the name real quick? Like, we know so few of Yoda's species, but we have like Yoda, Yaddle, Vandar, Otag apparently is another one of them, and then Grogu. Yep. Like, why Grogu?
I don't know.
But do you think they're going to start changing the merch to say Grogu, or is it going to stay the child?
No, it'll say Grogu. It'll
You think
say
so?
it'll say Grogu the child.
I could see, Grogu the child. I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I like Kit Kat Sneak Attack, little G. Oh, it's little G.
yeah. I saw the name before I saw the episode, which like is too bad. And seeing it used derisively by fanboys, makes it sound dumb. Hearing it in the show is like having already heard the meme before I saw the show. I will say, hearing it in the show, I'm like, doesn't sound really as stupid as it like is made to sound. Like, I don't care. Like, maybe it's just because I'm just old and miserable at this point. But I'm just kind of like,
we're
whatever.
two old miserable guys. So
yeah, like his name's Grogu. I couldn't care less. Like, I'm not like that. Doesn't bother me. That's what that's what you're all steamed up about. Like, that couldn't bother me less.
All right, next topic then. I want to move on to the 10 of Swords.
Yeah.
I've been yelled at for calling it X of Swords. It is 10 of Swords. Get it right, Betty. Okay, overall, I thought it was a great series. But I do feel that it was way too long and way too much filler. Before everyone attacks me, I get it. Hellions is setting up for the next event. I get it. We needed a lot of this extra character development. I also don't understand why Jubilee needed to ride in on a dragon and then go, oh, where is everyone?
Wasn't that awesome, though?
It was awesome. And I will admit, all the filler moments are awesome. But here is my actual problem with the event and the size of it. But before I get into that, Sal, what did you think of Ten of Swords?
Right. Ten of Swords is cool. It was a fun, cool event. It surprised people, I think, in a successful way. There was a lot of vocal, problems with it. Like, I heard a lot of complaints, critiques, issues with Ten of Swords. I think it'll read better all at once, especially now that like expectations have been met by the actual like execution. It
100%. I will say it does 100% read better all at once because I read it in the format of like 6, 7. Like I read like giant chunks at a time, and it reads great.
Oh, good.
It flows well, and yeah.
Because I can understand people being frustrated when this week there are 3 issues. Each issue highlights like 3 fights. The fights are dumb or silly, and so it's like But Mark Brooks drew a really awesome cover of all the X-Men with swords. Like, how come we haven't gotten that? And it's like, read the last issue. There's a ton of awesome action in there with Lovecraftian space monsters and like everything you'd expect. And like, people are like, I don't understand why Apocalypse is acting like such a, like he's like such a cook. And it's like, watch him kick ass. Like, like watch him be a baller like you expected him to be, and be like unsurprised when it turns out he's actually the master of everything. I feel like it was I dug it. I was like, this is a cool story, and it was also cool because it's easy to just give you what you think you want, and it's harder to pull off both what you want and like a feeling. Because Saturnine is an odd character that a lot of people didn't like, and the fact is like nobody uses her, and she is limitlessly powerful. And what do you do with a character like that? Well, you give her like a really easily solvable problem that she can't solve, which is I want to bang Brian Braddock, and it's like that's all she wants. And so like I did like
Wolverine basically being like, one of us could solve this right now, dude.
Exactly. I got 6 compelling reasons for you to bang Opaluna Saturnine. But like, I really think that's interesting that she, like, because she's so frustrated and she's so unhappy, like, she trolled the X-Men, the Arakans, and the audience with this event. And, like, that's kind of neat and fun. And, like, it's neat and fun because of the execution, the, like, hopefully the journey along the way, and the end result. Which I don't want to spoil too much unless people are, like, aware. Unless everyone in the chat is aware, we're going to spoil Ten of Swords. Now that that's out of the way, we will.
Spoiler, just because it is so long, and I know I'm not the only one that was waiting for it to kind of get near its finale before they were going to read it.
And I don't blame you. And the fact is, like, if you sat on Ten of Swords, if you were like, 22 parts, I'll wait or not read it ever. And it's like, listen.
I read it. I got it.
Right. But, like, listen, those issues are... Oh, yeah, go ahead. But I was going to say, those issues are not scarce or seminal, so they won't be, like, jacked up in price. What is this?
That's going to be the size of the Ten of Swords. This is the Injustice Omnibus that just came in.
Oh, nice.
So I just saw it sitting over there. Like, this is going to be so you want to read Ten of Swords? Here's your textbook.
Here you go. I mean, like pick up Infinity, pick up Time Runs Out. Like they're all that thick. But if you pick up any X-Men event, they're also that long. Like if you grab any of those stories, except for like, I guess Mutant Massacre is pretty short.
Chat's asking. Yes, I did pay full price for this. This is a personal buy for my collection.
This is not an ad for Injustice.
Nope. No, not at all.
But it could be.
Myself. Amazon had a sale on it. It was like $20 off, and I was like, done.
Yep. I did the same thing. I saw Midtown was having a Black Friday week sale, and I was like, I'm gonna buy a bunch of trades. Bam, 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 bam.
People are asking. The official price is $125. I think I got it for $100.
There you go. That's not so bad.
So this does bring me to the next topic, though, about the length of it and the fact that it is that big in Marvel.
Right.
And we're going to try to keep this condensed so we can talk about the Wonder Woman 84 situation.
Oh, yeah.
But so here's the problem I had with Ten of Swords and its length.
Right.
Yeah, everyone's like, 22 issues is not a big deal. 3 comics a week, easy to read, kind of digestible. Cliffhangers kind of sucked, but we can get into it. But here's where the problem comes in. When I was in the military, I had $30 a week for comic sale.
Right.
So I'd have $30 a week for the Army, right? So let's say I bought 3 Marvel books. They're all $4.99. 3 X-Men books. It's $15 right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you got to get at least 1 Batman book if you're a comic book fan. I don't know any comic book fan that doesn't get like 1 Batman book. So that's $20 right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, that leaves me with room for 2 other books?
Right.
Okay, so I'm going to get Spider-Man, and I'll probably pick up a Flash comic or something like that. Or if you're strictly Marvel, then you probably picked up a couple Spider-Man, maybe a Hulk.
Right.
The point I'm getting at is Marvel it made this event too long because, yes, it was fun. Yes, we had epic fights. Yes, it was cool to see the Hellions get lost, not even getting to the fight and Jubilee coming in the Dragon. But none of it was truly needed. And instead of trying to get people to buy books, and the greatest example I have for this is U.S. Agent, because that came out during this, who's going to have the spare money to get a U.S. Agent book? Then they're like, oh, you guys don't want to support new superheroes, so we're just going to keep remaking the old ones.
Right.
It's like, no, you put out 3 X-Men books, 2 Spider-Man books, and then he did a Wolverine book called Wolverine Black, White, and Red. That's not even tied into the event.
Nope.
I can't afford your U.S. Agent book.
Right. Now you're making a compelling argument, but I don't think that Ten of Swords is the reason it is valid. Because on one hand, Batman comes out once a month. On the other, we're talking about events. Ten of Swords is an event. It's a cross-title platform that's telling one cohesive story. You're probably not picking up every X-Men book, and if you are, then you're already spending that money regardless, right? Because every title for Ten of Swords was an X-Men book. So if you are on board for the Hickman era of X-Men, you're buying all those books regardless. So that's an implied cost.
Maybe it did work. Yeah, maybe I'll give you that. Maybe it did work at least for Ten of Swords,
right?
Because it was amongst the same X-Men books. They didn't try to do Ten of Swords books and X-Men books.
There are 2 Ten of Swords books that are about Ten of Swords, and they're the beginning and the last one. The rest of them are all the regularly scheduled Ten of Swords or X-Men titles as they were coming out, when they were going to come out, regardless, by their creative teams. And because Ten of Swords is part of this ongoing thing, and it is a true to form X-Men event, it's not just about Ten of Swords, it's also about these characters and about where they're going to end up after this. So all of those books ended up perpetuating those stories and those characters anyway. So while it was a tie-in to this event, it was also part of the ongoing saga for X-Force and Wolverine and so forth. You need to know what's going on in those books in order to find out where they're going.
The Wolverine and the X-Force books just basically followed Wolverine's journey to get a sword.
Exactly. But you know that Muramasa blade, or both of them, are going to end up in the Wolverine book later on.
They have to.
Well,
no, actually, I don't think it will, just because... Well, actually, it will, because it always shows up. For a mystery sword that can kill Wolverine that no one should know where it is, he finds that fucker all the time.
Well, these are new now, and so, that'll come up. So that's relevant. The problem, I think, and what you're hitting on is absolutely correct, it's that Marvel is... The hope is that Marvel won't learn, and by extension DC and everybody else, the wrong lesson about this, which is that no one wants a U.S. Agent book. It's more like, Marvel is doing and to an extent DC as well, but DC has a totally new management, and I can't even speak to what the hell they're doing anymore. Like, DC's another conversation, but as far as Marvel and their failures,
well, we could probably have the DC conversation next week. The DC, I don't think you've read it yet, but did you read Eternal Winter or Endless Winter?
I bought it, but I haven't read it yet.
Okay, without spoiling what happens in an Endless Winter, DC quite obviously has realized death metal has taken over way too much shit.
Yep, they just don't. They're like, you don't care about death metal? Here's Endless Winter.
Yeah, exactly. It's 100% not tied in. It's a separate Justice League storyline, separate plot. It's quite obviously in continuity.
Yep. Or is it going to be before death metal or after death metal? Like, who knows?
Well, you know what? In all honesty, I bet you DC's like, we don't care, and you shouldn't either.
They don't. They don't. In fact, Endless Winter will be the only thing they can get after death metal that isn't part of the Future State lineup. So there you go. That's your in-continuity book.
It's. I just find it funny the way it's handled, that book. But
Marvel,
you're right. DC is a discussion for another day. The way they're doing this.
Yeah, Marvel, U.S. Agent should never have come out. There, I said it. Like, you shouldn't have.
I have a better. I have to make this analogy. I have to. It's about DC. Yeah. DC Comics, the way they handle their books is literally Rob Jefferson from Comics Explained, and I don't mean that as a stab at Rob.
How so?
Sal and I know Rob personally.
Yep.
When Rob gets excited about something, it is the only goddamn thing we will hear about.
Yep.
Oh, let me tell you, man. He'll tell you the same stories 5 times. He will go into the 5 times. We'll be doing something else, and he'll be like, "Let's talk about the event."
It's like that thing you
DC is.
Yes. Hey, you know what's cool? Death metal. We know, man.
That's what I'm saying. DC Comics is Rob because it's literally, oh, you like death metal? What if it was everywhere?
Yeah. How about 17 death metal tie-ins? How about everything is death metal? Dude, no, I kind of like action figures.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, like they're out now. Like now?
I know. There's action figure tie-ins and like extra characters. Yeah. I just say I love Rob and Rob is great, but when Rob really gets into something,
that's all you hear about.
That's all you hear about. That's what DC's doing.
Yeah. Whereas Marvel is like, Marvel should recognize, like, okay, Ten of Swords is going to cost $5 an issue, 22 issues. That's what, like $120. Like, it's a lot. It's a big ask, especially because it comes out, by the way, on time, and it wasn't once a month or once a week. It was 3 issues a week. It all happened within like a 2-month time frame or whatever. Yeah. It was like, it was done. You know, it's like,
I'm pretty sure it started in October, because I remember when I started reading it, it was like towards the end of October, and because I was doing all my X-Men stuff at the beginning of October.
Yeah.
So I got to Ten of Swords by the end of October, and we were already on like chapter 15 or 16.
Exactly. Like it was maybe a month of like this event, and it's over, and it beginning, middle, and end, and it's still part of the same thing, and it is relevant. It sets things up, but it's still out. Like that's cool. But the other thing is, if you are an X-Men fan, that's your event, right? That's the books you were reading. Yeah. And you got to try out new titles you might not have been checking out. If you're not an X-Men fan, this didn't affect you at all. Like, you read Spider-Man, you read Hulk, you read maybe US Agent, but like, if you're straight up not an X-Men fan, there are still plenty of other titles that have virtually nothing to do with Ten of Swords. In fact, literally nothing. There isn't a single book out that wasn't called Ten of Swords that was actually about Ten of Swords at all. All the Ten of Swords books have the Ten of Swords logo on it. The end.
Even my complaint about the Hellions book, which it was a great. Looking at it as a full scope, I still feel the book is unneeded, but it was a good breather. It was like, oh, and now we're going on a goofy adventure with the weird clone of Sinister.
Yeah. Well, and like, and that sets up things too, because Sinister then gets what he needs, and it like, there was some interesting stuff in there, and it was like a respite. Like, you're reading it, and you're like, oh my god, another arm wrestling fight with a pog. Nope, this is a chapter where like Mr. Sinister's doing this, and like, let's crap on Havoc again.
I know. I do like the comment of like, behold, we've made it. You know who'd like to see the Sinister? My other eye.
But yeah, like I feel like if you want to read everything, if you're trying to read everything and you're trying to buy everything and be a good person and not steal your comics, then you are put between a rock and a hard place financially as far as Marvel's concerned. Marvel doesn't care. Marvel's not interested in hearing about how expensive things are. But at the very least, it was compartmentalized. Ten of Swords over there. If you're an X-Men fan, you're reading them anyway, or we hope you read this. If you are
And
not,
I will say, at least they held off starting King of Black until it ended.
and that's kind of amazing, isn't it? Ten of Swords ends next week, which is this week. King in Black. So you didn't.
Yeah.
There's no crossover. There's no overlap. If you are an X-Men fan and a Marvel fan, you finish Ten of Swords, you go right into King in Black. If you are not an X-Men fan, you skip Ten of Swords, you tried a bunch of stuff, and then go right into King in Black. It's a perfect that you want to talk about synergy? That's kind of amazing in the synergy. Like that King in Black starts right after, not the same week, the week after the end of Ten of Swords. Not bad. That's not bad.
When did they did that with something else? I had another event starting before they finished their previous event. I remember they did that once, and everyone was like, "What is wrong with you?"
I think it was Secret Wars.
Secret Wars was getting spoiled before it ended.
Yes,
because they started rolling out books again, and it was like, "What?"
Yeah. There were maybe Axis or Secret Empire or something like that. There were a couple of events that like weren't even over yet, and we're moving on to the next one. And it's like, come on, that kind of this kind of synergy. Bravo. With respect to my comments about U.S. Agent, to no acclaim, to no marketing, to no fanfare, they released a U.S. Agent book. They have no right to say, well, you bought all those Ten of Swords, you didn't pick up U.S. Agent, you must not want U.S. Agent.
They will, and that's what bothers me.
Yeah.
The writer's going to complain. Marvel's going to be like, no one read this. You know what I mean?
Yep, and that's why it's like, you idiots. Like, U.S. Agent should have been a digital series that you pick up in trade. Like, that's what and if U.S. Agent sold physical numbers in digital, then you re-release the series month to month in physicals, and you release the trade after that.
I can't even find, what is the U.S. Agent book called?
I thought it was called U.S. Agent, but like...
according to Comixology, it is not.
I'm sure it's called U.S. Agent something, but like... I don't know, and I daren't check because I don't want to crash the computer again. But like, hang on.
I'm looking. Don't worry. You don't. It is U.S. Agent, but I can't pull it up on Comixology.
Yeah, coming in November.
Because it's not U.S. Agent. They named it U.S. Agent.
Well, that is his name.
But as one word.
Oh.
So if I'm looking for U.S. Agent, I have to type U.S. Agent as a one-word thing, or it doesn't come up.
That's not the way to go.
God, why do you not know how SEO works, Marvel?
I don't know. Yeah, John Walker, U.S. Agent. Well, obviously, the other problem was so in defense of that, I will say this: John Walker, U.S. Agent. John Walker, that's your title? Why'd you call it that? Because Falcon Winter Soldier with John Walker, U.S. Agent was supposed to be out by now.
Right.
That book was supposed to be coming out to coincide with the show. There is no show. We still have this comic. We have to recoup our spending money on 2 writers and artists.
And they also got Christopher Priest, who's not a cheap writer.
No. So here's your book, I guess. And it's like, we don't even know when the hell it's going to be done. Like, they're still shooting scenes. So got to dump this U.S. Agent. They can't, especially if U.S. Agent is supposed to be relevant in any way to like what's happening at Marvel within the next 6 months. Because if it is, it's got to come out now. If it isn't, you could wait until Falcon Winter Soldier comes out. But I feel like it isn't. So I feel like they had to put it out now. That sucks. I'm sure, I'll bet they didn't follow the digital idea that I had because Chris Priest was doing it. And Chris Priest's like, you can't put out if I'm putting out a book, you don't dump me on digital. Okay? You put one of the new guys on digital. Like, I'm Chris Priest, I'm doing a freaking U.S. Agent book. Here you go. Like, it's coming out in physicals month to month. It's just like, okay, well then prepare for it to sell less than 10,000 copies a month. I mean, you were already starting at a disadvantage because now you're literally, like right now at this point, you're only selling U.S. Agent #1 to people who know who U.S. Agent is.
He hasn't even been in the Marvel Universe or nothing. He's not even close to being relevant.
They haven't used him in a long time. And even if they did, like, I think it was in an event.
I wish I could look up what the sales numbers for it are, but we won't be able to look till next week or next month.
But we'll have to talk about it because, like, I bet they suck.
But I mean, that brings my point, though, that I feel like Marvel's cannibalizing itself.
It's too much
because they're making it so they're going too much into every direction. And I love my comic books, but not everyone has the expendable income for comic books that I have, and not everyone has the expendable time I have for comic books.
That's right.
Because you also got to think of this. This is another point I thought about. This it's hurting them even more. 3 comic books, $15, right? On an average. We're not going to go with the $8.99 and the big beefy ones.
Yeah. Week to week, $15.
Your average person can read those in about an hour to 2 hours.
Yep.
Okay, depends on how quickly you can read them.
Yep.
For $15, you can get, like, the video game market is. It used to be $60 for a video game, 20 hours of gameplay, but you could still kind of warrant your comics because of the medium.
Yep.
Now video games are like, for $15, Sal, you get access to all the games on Xbox.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can play them whenever you want. Right now, for as long as you want. Yeah.
That is going to hurt. I think it's going to hurt the industry worse than it is, because the problem with comic books as a medium is that it has a lot of competition from movies and video games and music and everything on your phone and every app game and every platform, everything that wants your time.
Absolutely.
And all of that is now getting lower. Like comics are not getting cheaper, but everything else is getting cheaper to compensate. And we still don't have a good Marvel Unlimited or DC thing. Now, I know DC's changing theirs to be the good one, but Marvel Unlimited still isn't good.
Is it just too expensive? I don't pay for it because I don't need it.
The way its search engine works, it doesn't organize things. Maybe they've changed it, but when I last did it, if you wanted to find a continual series, you had to individually search for each issue.
Oh, come on.
It didn't change. At least Comixology changed all my shit together.
Yeah, you need to be able to do that, regardless. But yeah, no, everything is competing for your face. Like, from movies, TV, streaming, video games, you also have just social media in general. There are people who are just addicted to seeing what other random people are creating as far as content goes. There's Reddit, there's Instagram, there's Twitter. Like, there's just the news. Like, there is everything. And then also there's comics.
I've got friends who literally spend 2-3 hours in the morning and night just browsing Twitter and Instagram.
Just looking at what random people are saying out loud. And that costs you literally nothing. Like, that's 2 hours of entertainment, or whatever you would call something that is occupying your time for 2.5 hours, for nothing. And then you're asking me to spend $6 for realistically 15 minutes worth of entertainment.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's the problem.
It's a big ask. And and Marvel is not helping, because it is unrealistic to expect me to not read DC. Likewise for DC, but like, it is unrealistic for the big two to pretend like the other doesn't exist, and to then try to jockey for their attention. Like, we outsold Batman. That doesn't mean people stopped reading Batman, and that doesn't mean that people stopped becoming fans of Batman. It's still gonna be, you know what? Yeah, this month, for the next couple of months. But like, when Batman has a new thing, everyone's gonna buy it. And that's like, and I'm excuse me to the 3 commenters who are going to be like, I never buy Batman. Good for you. Congratulations. Here's your trophy. But like, the rest of us are all reading Batman, and DC knows what side their bread is buttered on. But like, Marvel needs to.
That's why Batman's in every book.
Yeah. Marvel and DC need to recognize that, like, they are not competitors. They are colleagues. And I know, and I had this conversation, I think, with King like a couple months ago, where he was like, no, they are fierce competitors, and they very much argue with each other. Like, they very much treat each other like competitors. And it's like, yes, that is antithetical to their mission statement, which is sell comics. And it's like, no, I want you're not going to be the one to sell the most comics. You're going to be the one to sell the last comics if you keep that up. Like, at the end of the day, you're going to be the last comic publisher. And that's no one's going to help you then. Like, it's not enough. You need to be collaborative. And I'm not talking about crossovers and stuff. I'm just asking for Marvel to be like realistic. What is our target demographic? Your target demographic are these people who buy these books. How much money do they have? On average, they have about this much. We know this because I know everything about everyone. Because
there's literally issues in the world right now with our economy where people are like, you're not making enough to live.
Yep.
So how are they going to, I got to double my budget for comics this week.
Right. Or
it's become more prevalent with COVID. But one thing that Biden said when he came in, and he's like, we're going to fix the problems. But we did discover that a lot of these economy problems are not because of COVID.
No.
They're exemplified because of COVID.
Yeah, they were exacerbated.
Which
Absolutely.
made me go like, you're supposed to be the goddamn experts, and you just now realize people can't afford to live.
Right.
What?
Like, well, I like that is very insightful in that like COVID was not the culprit. It just magnified the true inherent issues we're having. And I'm glad that we did it, but no one is learning. And so it's like we have these like head in the sand executives and bosses who are like, don't worry, we're gonna get back to normal and we're gonna get you out of your houses, into the cars, and back into your offices. And it's like, are you out of your mind? If I can do my job from my home, that's a savings for literally everybody. And even if it's only incremental and you have a massive ego that needs to be massaged by having people in a building, think about the larger picture of like, as it turns out, cars cause noxious fumes in the atmosphere. And if there are fewer of them, we have better environment. And if you don't want to be a tree hugger, how about this? There are fewer cars on the road, quicker commutes, fewer people getting into auto accidents. It just makes sense to like listen to the warning signs. We've never had a better test case example of like what it's like when everyone, regardless of credo and like an income level, is effed. And so now that we can see that, we can find the actual like leaks in the system and hopefully work to plug them. The problem is the people who are usually in the position of being able to identify these leaks and plug them also benefit from having leaky pipes. So it's like, damn it. But like, you know, ideally speaking, you know, people, our leaders, our government are supposed to work specifically to help us, not to like make money. It's to like make your citizens comfortable and safe. And it's like, that's the goal. That got away from us talking about Marvel making too many books, but it's like, it is systemic to a larger issue, which is like my rent went up 5% this year. And I'm like, why? My life didn't get better. Your life didn't get better. You didn't make any improvements to my business. Why are you charging me 5%? I know what the answer's going to be. Oh, well, you know, the economy was really bad this year. Yeah, I know. You know how I know? Because I'm doing bad too. You know, it's unreasonable.
Houston's got that. Houston has the apartment across the street and they increase his rent by like $100.
Right. Like what?
It's like,
what makes you think I have $100? Like, and it's like Marvel needs to realize that too. Like, and listen, like, you know, when money was spent and decisions were made, you know, it's like maybe this wasn't the best time to let Hickman go ham on the X-Men universe. But they didn't know that. Normally, it's the best time to let Hickman do this. But like, I got a lot of issues. I need, you know, can you fix it? Can you make them shorter? No, I can't. And I shouldn't be expected to because I am Jonathan Hickman and I've earned my clout to be able to do this.
He did actually. He was at like 30 issues, wasn't he? And he reduced it?
I don't know. I thought it was always 22 because Infinity was 22. But like,
no,
I'll defer to the experts on this one. But like, concessions need to be made.
I know it was. I don't know. It felt like it wasn't, so I don't know what it.
It didn't. So it's like, Jesus, how long was this thing going to be?
I wonder how many more. It was supposed to be 24. He reduced it to 22.
You know, that makes sense. It's funny. I would assume then that Ten of Swords, Creation and Destruction are just double-sized issues. That would make sense to me.
That's what they most likely did to just kind of move it around.
Yeah, just squish them into those two Alpha and Omega issues. But Marvel needs to know, like, you know, if you... Because the thing is, right, like, if you
maybe longer. Someone in the chat can fill me in. I know we always have a comic book expert in the chat to correct us on everything we get wrong.
Exactly. Or four. But if you... I don't know where I was going to go with that, but whatever. Doesn't matter.
We got to move on to the next topic anyway. Yeah. I mean, I think these are all great topics for whole other episodes themselves.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and wrap this episode up because I'm still waiting for the call to go pick up the cat. Let's go ahead and wrap up with the discussion of Wonder Woman 8, 1984. So for those who don't know, on the 25th or 24th, one of those days, Christmas, Wonder Woman is going to be hitting theaters and digital services. It will not cost extra. It will be on HBO Max.
Yep.
Which I found hilarious because Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot, individuals who made videos about like, we're all going to get through this together. We're all going to be great. Inspire in my giant mansion. We're then putting out tweets like, go see it in theaters. You have to go see Wonder Woman at the theater.
Yeah. Nope. I'm not going to do that. And I owe you nothing.
I know.
I owe you nothing. And neither do you, ladies and gentlemen. You owe them nothing.
It's hilarious.
You know,
like, I get it.
Get the free trial on the 24th, watch Wonder Woman for free, and then cancel HBO Max the next day. That's my advice to you. Like,
I mean, the fact is, though, like, Mulan went to Disney Plus.
Yes.
But it already got backlash. It already had controversy, and then they charged you for it.
Yes.
Basically, Disney was, at that point, in my opinion, not expecting it to do well if it ever went to theaters.
Straight up.
Because everything else has been delayed. If you're not aware of this, the entire Marvel MCU lineup has been pushed officially a full year.
Yeah.
So, what that says is, since Mulan wasn't going to be pushed, they had no faith in that.
Yep.
So
they were entirely dependent on the Chinese market. They were like, we made Mulan for China. They didn't go see it. Oops.
Shit.
Yeah.
So what that says, though, is that Wonder Woman, this is going to be a huge test for streaming services because HBO is not charging you extra.
Yeah.
If a big blockbuster like Wonder Woman 1984, which almost got to $1 million in the first movie, can do well on this service, this is going to change the game of movies.
I hope so.
This really will. And I'm hoping it will.
Yeah.
I know Gal Gadot and Patty Jenkins want you to see it in the theaters, and I love the theater going experience.
Me too.
I seriously do. But I do feel we all need to watch this on digital platforms and show that this is a viable alternative.
Right.
Not everything has to be in an expensive theater where I spend $40 on popcorn.
And this is a better way to show them that because they are not doing some ludicrous thing like charging you $30.
Right.
Like, this is the actual way to show them, like, oh yeah, no, this is the future. Put the thing on here. I mean, like, everyone already is, right? Like, these companies have spent all the money of like entire nations on creating streaming services. Streaming services are bad. I think they're destroying everything. But like, this is what they've all decided is the future and what they're gonna do. So like, if this is what they're gonna do. Put it out here. Especially if it's like, if my option is get sick or risk it, or go see your Wonder Woman movie. I mean, can you imagine?
That bothers me, like, my brother sometimes likes to go out to movie theaters or shit like that. Well, he didn't do the theater. I think he was doing restaurants. But like, I always sit at home. Like, Natalie and I have thought about going out sometimes. We've gone out to some fancy restaurants. Like, we've done like date night kind of thing.
Yep.
But like, then it comes down to, do you want to go to the burger bar?
Right.
To get, like, even though it's like a 0.001% chance or something stupid, is that worth getting McDonald's and eating it in a restaurant? And that's kind of how I feel about the theater. Like, I love the theater going experience, but what movie is worth going out and getting a 0.0001% chance? I avoid going out and getting a cold.
Yeah.
Like,
like, I hate being sick of any type. So
yeah. Like, it's flu season? Okay, well, we're not going to go out very much.
Yep.
Like, so now it's like, it's COVID season. And that's like, that could potentially, like, yes, I know the percentile is relatively low, but it could kill you.
Right. It probably won't kill you, but it like, you could kill someone around you. Or at the very least, you could have long-lasting effects that will like, you know what I mean? Like, especially with certain family members who might be immunocompromised, it's like, you could invariably cause. It's just about being selfless, and it's like, we're certainly finding out the limits of people's selflessness, where they're like, no, but I was selfless for like 6 months, and it's like, there's no expiration on that.
I just don't want to get sick.
Yeah. I just don't want to get sick.
I can't wait to get my winter flu.
Every time I get sick, I'm angry. Like, because I'm like, damn
I
it.
think that is a selfish thing. Like when people come to my house for work and like Dan's like, I sneeze this morning, get the fuck out of my house.
Right.
Go home.
Go away.
You turn on your humidifier, you drink orange juice, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Right. Yeah. No, I'll see you next week. I want to find out tomorrow if you're even more sick. Forget about it. But like, Wonder Woman 84 is not worth going to the theater and risking.
That's just it. Like, why
what if it sucks? Can you feel it? What an asshole you'd feel like. You're like, you
risk your life to get that. Then you do get something like COVID.
Right.
And you end up in the hospital like, it was for Wonder Woman 1984.
I saw Wonder Woman 84. Cheetah looked really stupid. Like, I'm 4 months away from a vaccine. And I went to go see Wonder Woman 84 and I got COVID. Like, you would feel like a real jackass.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, Just especially when it's like you could go to the bathroom whenever you want to. You could eat an entire paella in front of the screen. Like, you know, there's any number of options. I'm just saying,
all examples for you to
something big and messy that you can't get in a theater. A paella is like,
do you sit at your house and pop shows on, or just I got a paella?
No, but I eat dinner in front of the TV because, you know, I'm a man boy. Like, but I don't have paella. But, you know, but like
related to that, real quick. Natalie and I we're gonna be moving real soon, right? And she's like, well, I want to have the movie room because that's what we kind of do down here. We sit here, watch movies.
But I eat in front of it.
But she's like, so upstairs with the kitchen, I don't want a TV. And I'm like, so what are we gonna do when we eat food?
Right.
And she's like, talk. And I'm like,
about
come
what?
on, we watch Family Guy and shit. Like, what, who are you trying to kid? Are we gonna become intellectuals?
Yeah. Are you really gonna make me in like 3 months after we move in bring our dinner downstairs every time now? Like, let's be real about this right now and just save ourselves the trip, please.
That's what I was trying to. She wants to do it.
Well, then that's gonna happen.
I'll give you the updates as we're going.
I feel like it's gonna happen
in the basement. Yeah.
I mean, like, listen, that's just the way it goes. I understand. But yeah, no, I'm just saying you could do anything. It's free. It's a freeing experience. It's like, and then can you imagine if it sucks? Then you're like, man, I'm glad I didn't pay for that. Man, I'm glad I didn't go to the theater for that. I've had theater experiences where I see a movie I want to see that I know is going to be great, and every idiot moron in the world went to go see it on the same day, and like there's a whole row of morons just ruining the movie for everybody. Like,
yeah,
like, you know, I love the theater experience, whatever that means as well. I like the fact that like there's a monument to film that we build that lives in like every other town. You go to like a temple and see this thing, and it's huge and it's epic and like it's immersive.
I love theaters. I love the theater experience.
Yeah.
Before COVID hit, I was one of the people that was very adamant with Natalie. Like, I want to go out to the movies once a week.
Yeah.
Like when she was coming up with her stream schedule, I'm like, okay, but this is the day we go to the movies normally, and I want to keep that.
Yeah.
So, like,
I wish I could do that.
For us,
like,
it was Wednesday night because we wouldn't go on Friday night because everyone goes.
Right.
No,
I like to go during the day. That was me and Tiffany. We used to do that.
We would do that too. We'd go at like a lunch thing. Like you go get lunch, go see the movie in the day, take a big nap.
Yeah, of course. Well, after your paella, you're going to be wiped. But yeah, no. So
I'm just picturing you with a paella.
Just a whole paella. I'm just saying, like, it's something messy you couldn't practically bring to the theater.
You know what I'm going to say right now? You better, the next time when we finally get to meet up after this pandemic again, you better eat a paella.
We'll have paella.
Sneak it into the theater and just.
There's no way to sneak it. It's in bowls. Forget it. It'd be like bringing Indian food to the theater. Like you'd know immediately, and it's like in multiple parts. Like. You can't do that.
Sounds like non-bread curry chicken.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. When I was a kid, like a teenager, I wore big jeans. They were called
sneaking snacks.
They were called Jinkos, and they had deep pockets. And there was a McDonald's right outside the theater. So I'd go to the theater. I'd get a quarter pounder with cheese. I'd get a fry. So quarter pounder in one pocket, fry in the other pocket. I wore a long coat, drink in the coat pocket. Boom, into the theater, and then be good to go. That lasted.
Remember back in the day when we used to have to do that, and they wouldn't charge you $50 for the whole meal. It's like the theater's like, wait, you're just gonna sneak burgers in. Why don't we just serve you burgers that are that poor of quality?
Exactly. We'll give you crappy burgers. I found out when they built the AMC in our area. Like for a little while, they allowed outside food or drink. They just didn't tell you. And then like they made this announcement like a couple of months after that, or a couple of years after that. They were like, by the way, we won't be allowing outside food or beverages anymore. And I'm like, you were? Take out of pockets? Are you kidding me? We used to go.
I had burger grease in my pockets because of you.
But by the time the AMC came in, I stopped eating full meals in the theater from the dollar menu at the McDonald's. We would just go to the Five Below and grab candy and then bring that in the theater.
Yeah, that's what I used to do. The candy and the soda from elsewhere.
Oh yeah.
My grandmother used to be like,
did that. Like,
so when I was a kid, like every Friday, my grandmother would show up. She'd take me and my brother, and she'd take us to the latest movie. Now we were kids. We were under 10, so it was always like some kids movie.
Yeah.
But she'd always she never had a purse unless it was movie night.
Right.
And then it was the giant grandma purse with all the snacks and shit.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. But yeah, so I mean, I wish Marvel would stop cannibalizing themselves, and I wish Marvel would be more realistic about like the market. I don't see that happening. Again, like COVID, it's like there needs to be a worst case scenario for them to learn a lesson, and even then, sometimes they go like, la 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 la, no, there's no worst case scenario. I don't learn anything. No, and I don't know what it is.
Nick, you swapped topics back. We were talking about Wonder Woman and movie theaters.
Oh yeah, Wonder Woman 84. Well, that was my final word on that. Wonder Woman 84. Don't see it in the theaters.
Oh man,
watch it on HBO.
That was an epic brain fart, Sal. Like, you just rolled back like 20 minutes of our conversation.
I was like, that's good.
I was like, I'm confused. Why are we on Marvel
what?
again?
We're talking about Marvel? Yeah. By the way, I've heard buzz about Wonder Woman. I won't share it, but like I would say, see it at HBO Max.
So yeah, guys, that's going to be the end of today's Absolute Comics. We apologize for the break in the middle.
Sorry about that. That was my fault.
I don't know what it's going to look like on the post version on the channel, but I do apologize for that. Thank you guys for watching us here at Twitch. If you enjoyed this more spitball-y kind of, so basically for those who don't know, this is for the video purpose because I want to know what the YouTube thinks as well. In the weekly poll era of these podcasts, normally by mid-November till about mid-January, we were very sporadic about having an episode. And the reason was simple. There's nothing to really talk about. Us having King of Black this year is kind of a unique occurrence. That's like not normal because normally DC would do their September event and then Marvel would do like an October-ish kind of event and that would be it. We're done for the season. So Sal and I were talking about doing more spitball episodes. This unintentionally became a very just whatever kind of episode, and I enjoyed it. So if you guys like this type of content from me and Sal, let us know. We'll keep rolling these out while we're in the drought. Otherwise, we'll just hold off till we get more news. It's kind of entirely up to you guys. Yeah. If you do like this show and it does well throughout the next couple of months, maybe Sal and I will do more of a spitball-y podcast in our news. We'll just talk about it. We'll figure it out.
That'd be fun. Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for your support. We could end the show. Check out Sal over at Comic Pop. I'm at Comic Storian. If you want to support the show, subscribe right here on Twitch or go to our Patreons, patreon.com/comicstory, patreon.com/comicpop, or check out G Fuel, gfuel.com. Use the code comics at checkout. All of these are ways to support us. Thank you guys. We will see you next week right here at Absolute Comics.